Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys, this comes from Why We Protest Scientology Wiki, and there's some, how do I explain it? There's some strange little symbols in here because somehow the information didn't transfer 100%. So I'm just going to ignore those weird little symbols. You can also download this document as a PDF. Children in Scientology and the Sea Organization. Children are mature thetans. Scientologists believe children are ageless souls in small bodies. How about that, LAPD? What religions call the soul in philosophy terms? Consciousness is called a thetan. In Scientology, since thetans are forever mature, a child thetan requires no special nurturing. Well, Scientology's got no nurturing down to a fine art with the children. How child thetans are cared for in Scientology is best understood in light of two fundamental church beliefs: reincarnation, Cartesianism. These beliefs have a profound effect on how children are treated in Scientology. They perverted them. A child is expected to act as an adult and work as an adult. How about that, LAPD? Children working as adults in Scientology. You guys okay with that? Well, if you are okay with that, I'll have you know, police officers who are supposed to enforce laws, that is against the law having children work, in case you didn't know. A child is expected to act as an adult and work as an adult because a thetan, it's otherwise known as a spirit, has been an adult in prior lifetimes. A child's deficiency is simply the temporary physical limitation imposed by a smaller body. Henceforth, L. Ron Hubbard talking about a 7-year-old girl should not have any problems with a full-grown man kissing her passionately on the lips. You know why? Because she can recall all her sexual experiences from her previous lives, and she shouldn't have a problem with it. Isn't that great, you guys? LAPD, what do you think about that? According to ex-Scientology kid Karen Wolf, an anomom describes, we can't wait for this ignoramus word that LRH probably made up in one of his drug-induced psychosis states. Additionally, since a thetan is a mature, able being, a child has the same responsibility to work and pay its way as an adult. How about that, LAPD? Children need to work and pay their own way. What do you think about that, LAPD? Department of Justice, FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, allegedly. Scientology teaches that every human interchange requires fair compensation. Failure to compensate for something received is called out-exchange. And children are not exempt. A child must contribute the equivalent work of an adult to pay for food, clothing, or shelter. All against the law, LAPD, Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, allegedly, Department of Child Welfare, Child Services. One ex-Scientology kid described her parents' Scientology beliefs. Another ex-Scientology kid relates, left unsupervised, Scientology's conviction that children are mature souls devalues physical and psychological nurturing. Scientology parents, what do you think about that? You're okay with that? You're okay with not nurturing your children? Because if you are okay with it, something's wrong with you. And just so you know, to the rest of the world, you look really bad, because nurturing children should come naturally. They are also capable of taking care of themselves. We're talking about children, you guys. As a result, parental supervision is not a high priority in Scientology. Oh, they're quick to hand their children over to guardians, though. They're really good with that. A lot of times the guardians abuse them as well. I know not everyone in Scientology is straight up abusing, but we've got to call it like we see it here. Dormitories and communal living, also against the law, but you know, laws. Children live in dormitories or nurseries, separate from parents. How'd that happen? You know how that happened? The parents handed their children over. That's what happened. Parents employed on Scientology staff or in the cult's C organization. Family time is set at 1 hour per day when children share a meal with parents, typically in a crowded cafeteria. That actually doesn't happen too often, from what I understand. Jenna Miscavige didn't see her parents for how many years? I think it was like 6 or 7 years. You'll have to go read her book. Dolphin Lover describes her living arrangements at 6.5. Transitioning to a communal lifestyle in a Scientology dormitory can be distressing for a young child. Why would that be, you guys? One must ask, right? Scientology parents? Ex-Scientology parents? Why do you think a child would be distressed when they're thrown into a communal living situation? Why would that be? The little bit of home life and personal space they once enjoyed may be shattered when their parents get caught up. No, let's just reword this. Let's reword this. When their parents hand them over, because that's what happens. Scientology's zeal to clear the planet. Stop giving them excuses. Ex-cadet recalls her experience at age 9. LAPD is 9 years old. Is that considered a child? Inquiring MF minds want to know. Not much sympathy and nurturing. From what I've seen, there's been zero. Sympathy for children is often in short supply, since Scientology considers human emotion a spiritual weakness. That wouldn't create psychopaths or narcissists. Henceforth, all the crimes that go on in there. Many ex-Scientology kids suggest that the lack of nurturing hindered their emotional development. Yep. In fact, all cults do that. I mean, I suppose you could say on an individual basis, but a lot of these cults, they don't nurture the children at all. Children of God, where pedophilia is the norm. Like I said, all these cults were created by the same, you know what. According to Rose 129, work assignments at distant locations. See, we've got to really watch the language because, unfortunately, a lot of these cult children either don't have an understanding, or they just don't want to admit that their parents were abusive when they did this. So I'm going to reword it, and then I'll go back to what was originally written. Work assignments at distant locations keep parents separated. No, I'm going to reword that as the parents chose to be separated. Even though it was a hard choice for those parents to make, they chose from their children for long periods. Scientology staff and Sea organization members, like Rinder, are expected to take up new duties anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. In that regard, communal child care services. Communal child care serves the church cult, but possibly not the children who have no idea when their parents may return. Do you guys... Okay, I haven't read Ron Miscavige's book. I might read it one day. But do you guys remember the part where David Miscavige was fair gaming his father like hardcore? Having the goons out there. And Ron Miscavige lived in my old neighborhood in West Dallas, Wisconsin, which I didn't know, of course, back then. And there was a point in time where Ron Miscavige, I believe it was Ron Miscavige. Yeah, Ron Miscavige Sr. thought he was having a heart attack, and David Miscavige said, let him die. And Ron Miscavige Sr. was very hurt by that. I mean, from what I saw of Ron Miscavige Sr., he seemed like a nice guy, like a kind-hearted. But again, we have to remember that he handed his children over. Like, David Miscavige didn't become what he is from nothing. You know what I mean? Scientology staff and Sea organization members are expected to take up new duties, including children that are Sea Org members. Let's not forget. Anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. In that regard, communal child care service, I keep doing that, serves the church, but possibly not the children who have no idea when their parents may return. What is that called? Abandonment? Children are not part of a family unit. They are part of Scientology's production machinery. Just like Brave New World. The overall scene is well depicted by Stephen Fishman. Industrial strength child care. Like a modern factory, Scientology organizations manage every activity by production statistics. These industrial efficiency tools may be useful in Scientology's accounting and production departments, but are not what most people consider appropriate to child rearing. Raising children in a production environment, LAPD. Scientology relies on the older children to help untrained nannies, nannies that are children, to keep up with the workflow. Yeah, let's not forget they have children being nannies over there. It's still going on. I don't want to hear anything. Scientology nannies are typically responsible for far too many children. Abusive practices arise as a result of frustration and inexperience. Making the children watch the children when the parents should be responsible. Facilities for children are inadequate and unpleasant. Like most Scientology staff, nannies are severely overworked. They really glossed over the nanny part. Nannies oftentimes are children. which is, again, against the law. But laws. What are laws, right? Medical treatment. Children receive little medical attention, like Lara FM when she had a concussion, and have to tough out illness. Because, parents don't know how to be parents, right? Scientologists believe disease is negative energy, pulled in by a thetan. Apparently, they got a lot of bad thetans then, because a lot of them are very sickly. And I'm talking about the adults. Since children are thetans, illness is something they bring upon themselves. Look at all the illnesses that the adults have, including cancer. Illness is not the result of germs or viruses. So medicine is inefficacious. I just remembered too, David Miscavige, apparently he has asthma. I can relate to that. Scientology Spiritual Technology, written by the moronic, drug addict, imbecile, convicted felon of fraud, extortion. I guess that lines up with LAPD, huh? Is the only real cure for disease. Because LRH was the epitome of health, right? Go look at his pictures. So there's not much to be done for children. As a result, Scientology parents and caregivers often neglect the earaches and fevers so common with children. Isn't that wonderful? Children can lose their hearing from having earaches when they're young. Two-week sauna. PAs, mature thetans, children also partake in the same rigorous training protocols as adult Scientologists. Yes, and how many have we heard, child Scientologists, that had to get, they're nearly naked, sitting in the saunas with these adults. I guess LAPD's fine with that too, huh? How much abuse happened in those situations? 2 weeks or more of repetitive stints in a scalding sauna while taking large doses of vitamins, particularly niacin, that also causes heart issues. All you have to do is just look it up. Is one of Scientology's first training routines. Written by a complete imbecilic moron, LRH. Unreal. How many doctors have warned people about this? We must be kind of a moronic country, I guess. Scientology calls this the purification rundown, and it has caused severe medical distress, even for adults. Medical authorities have warned that the program can cause liver and kidney damage. Yes, numerous times. Nonetheless, even preschoolers take part in the purif. Like I said, they just sacrifice their children. Rose 129 was first put on the purif at age 5. Wow, that's great, isn't it? Double V did the purif and other Scientology training at ages 7 through 9. Ex-cadet did the purif at age 8. This is all like completely illegal things they're doing. It's unlawful. Hard sell recruitment into the Sea Org. See also Aaron Saxton's videos. Scientology Sea Org recruits minors. I'm going to have to go back and check that out. Like kids everywhere. And also, too, isn't it amazing how all these elder ex-Scientologists completely erase these experiences? They tried to. Of recruiting all these children? Nobody ever talks about that? Everybody plays dumb. Like kids everywhere, children in Scientology want to emulate and be praised by their parents. It's conditional love. The church takes advantage of this enthusiasm to recruit children into Scientology's paramilitary Sea organization. All of this is illegal. Scientology depicts the Sea organization as a dashing elite corps with a special mission, making it especially attractive to youngsters. No, like, who's even saying this? The youngsters don't want this. I really wish they'd stop using that canned Scientology definition. There's nothing elite about the Sea Org. Nothing. Sea Org recruiters, which we also need to start getting names on them, because they're looking at some prison time, use hard sell tactics to get youngsters, children, to sign billion-year contracts, even though few even understand what a contract means. None of them understand it. The recruiters usually approach and solicit these children without the permission or knowledge of the parents. You see how they try to parent like the parents aren't responsible for anything, are they? That's not true. How many times have I read stories on this channel of parents who were like flipping out because they knew they were trying to get at their children? It's not true. They don't go straight to the kids. Come on. Let's just stop with this stuff. These recruitment tactics are often described as lying and abusive and illegal. It's against there's so many laws it breaks. I don't even feel like going to look up all the statutes. I don't even have the energy. Sea Org recruitment tactics are so unfair. I mean, think about this. The military can't even recruit children into the military. You have to be 18 to be in the military. I signed up for delayed entry program at 16 with my parents' permission. But somehow the Sea Org, the fake military, in the Scientology, doesn't have to follow any laws at all. Freedom of religion. You might as well just say freedom to abuse children. Sea Org recruitment tactics are so unfair that one regretful Scientology recruiter posted a public apology to ex-Scientology kids' message board. Well, that's a first. You don't get that very often. Sea organization performs many functions in Scientology, especially cleaning with toothbrushes. They're really good with that. But for the most part, it supplies a flexible labor force to the church. Unfortunately, Sea Org recruits, look at how they're dancing around stuff here. They're dancing. I give them credit, though. I'm not sure who wrote this, and I'm not trying to, be nasty, but got to be really careful how you word things. Unfortunately, Sea Org recruits, right there, they're putting it on the child. It's the child's responsibility, right? Attracted by the image of handsome uniforms, which I don't believe they're allowed to wear these anymore. With gold braid, usually wind up serving in clerical, janitorial, what'd I say? In fact, how many of the ex-Scientologists, the second gen or the third gen, were basically hotel maids, taking care of the prestigious executives like Rinder and Rathburn and what's the other guy, the PR guy we always see? Forgot what his name is. Thank God for child labor. Right, LAPD. Construction, also against the law. How many laws are broken right there, LAPD? Inquiring minds want to know. And maintenance functions. Because Nothing an 11-year-old should be doing than doing some maintenance, right? That's probably how Danny Montalvo lost his finger. But none of these police departments know how to look up anything, do they? Especially Chi-Town. Maintenance functions in Scientology's estate project force. That's also another hellhole right there. It's like a fake basic training for children, against the law as well. I'm going to change. I don't want to read youngsters. Children who join the Sea organization usually find it's not the exciting and romantic experience they expected. I don't really like how this is written, to be honest. I'm not sure who wrote it. No mention of the parents. It's unreal. Instead, they embark on the heavy stage of Scientology indoctrination. Well, that's too late. They've been getting indoctrinated since they were, what, 2? Many describe the long hours of repetitive drill, manual labor, also against the law, and verbal abuse, against the law, as mind control, likened to the kind of discipline associated with the military. Yeah, the military, that frickin' LRH loser scumbag who believes kissing a 7-year-old girl on the lips, also illegal. He couldn't even make it in the military. Bum loser. There we go with my word. That's my word. Unlawfully overworked. Children work long hours at demanding tasks in the Sea organization. All the adults are okay, fine with that. They're fine with having the children serve them meals. But these children, Scientologists do not want to see it. A lot of them don't. They don't want to see it. That their parents just served them up to be abused. In fact, a lot of times probably the parents just came to the cafeteria, which is still going on, which is also illegal in 2025, but you know. The adults come over there to get their hamburgers cooked by the 11 and 12-year-olds, all against the law. They're fine with it. In public interviews, Scientology officials, prestigious executives, misrepresent this work as chores. You got to have a gaslight, don't you? Of this kind that any youngster might do at home or in school. Oh, like scrubbing dumpsters with toothbrushes, huh? Most children don't get ethics handlings like they did in the Nazi youth. Ex-cadet describes youngsters assigned to the Commodore's Messengers organization. Oh, who was the gal was in there? Janice Gilman? She was one of them. Take care of laundry. And how many essays have we heard of the girls that were in the Commodore's Messengers? You think it was an accident that they surrounded, especially LRH, surrounded himself by all these young, beautiful girls to do their laundry and other chores for Scientology executives like Rinder, Rathburn, who else? All the executives. All of them. Commodore refers to Scientology founder and drug addict, loser, couldn't make it in the military, black tooth, pot belly, thinks kissing a 7-year-old girl on the lips passionately is okay. Because she needs to recall all her sexual experiences from past lives. As his personal staff. Pedo? Anyone? Naturally, a primary job of Sea Org youngsters is to take care of younger children. I don't like the way that was written, but whatever. Penal discipline. Imagine that this day and age, it's still going on, you guys. They're all lying about it, saying the RPF doesn't exist. Please. Penal discipline, the Rehabilitation Project Force. Very heavy labor is a disciplinary action in Scientology, kids being kids. Sometimes break rules. Refractory youngsters in the Sea Org are assigned to Scientology's Rehabilitation Project Force. The RPF is a penal labor camp, isolated from the rest of Scientology. They love their isolation, don't they? No better place to essay a child, is there? Sea Org members of any age may be punished on the RPF. That's where some of Serge Delmar's essay abuse happened. Isn't that great? Manual labor and enforced physical exercise, mostly running, are common punishments in Scientology for all ages. Not surprisingly, youngsters, we can use a different word, endure this better than adults. Some even suggest that at the time, the experience was fun, and while most ex-Sea Org kids agree their time would have been better spent in school, some, like Bia, claim the construction projects and manual labor was instructive. Schooling is minimal. Schooling for children varies with the affluence of the Scientology parent, but is generally haphazard. Thetans don't require schooling because of all they've learned in prior lifetimes. You know, like their SEX life. School subjects are usually restricted to the writings and methods of L. Ron Hubbard. Scientology teachers are typically not certified by the state. More laws being broken. And the school's not accredited. More laws broken. For Sea Org members, work takes priority over schooling. Educational instruction is sacrificed to projects and fitted around work assignments, to the point that it becomes largely meaningless. Many ex-Scientology kids, ESCs, claim that the bulk of their education came from personal reading, consistently mostly of Hubbard's books. Sexual abuse. Tragically, the worst possible abuses befall children whose Scientology parents neglect them in the belief that as Thetans, they pull in whatever evil may occur. Sexual assault and physical abuse are far too prevalent. It's my opinion from the research I've done. I believe 98% of the children in Scientology are sexually abused. And I'll bet if you went and looked into it, I'd be right, unfortunately. Jennifer, a 16-year-old staff member, was repeatedly AR'd by her Scientology supervisor, Gabriel Williams. Convicted of sexual battery and sodomy, Williams is a registered sex offender in the state of California. I think after that, that's when they made him leave. They didn't make him leave before then, but then afterwards, I think they made him leave Scientology, because, you know, black PR. In Florida, Scientologist Tony Strawn was convicted of sexual battery. There's a lot more. In 2009, Scientologist Ben Castle was charged molesting a 13-year-old girl. I believe he molested more than one girl. Thetans don't have families. The unorthodox treatment and abuse of children in Scientology results from many factors. Nonetheless, there's little doubt that the mistreatment is undergirded by Scientology's fundamental belief that children are mature Thetans packaged in a small body. There are no families among Thetans. Thetans are godlike individuals with dominion over matter, energy, space, time. Children are ageless Thetans who choose their parents in order to pick up a body in which to be reborn. Parents serve only a biological function in creating the meat body a Thetan can inhabit. Thetan, P.A. Thetan. Oh, a Thetan is on a passage to eternity. Scientology places family as just one out of 8 dynamics. A Thetan relates to in the course of its journey. In practice, this simply means the family must accept the Thetan as a Scientologist. Any family member critical of Scientology impedes the Thetan's passage and must be shunned, which the church terms disconnection. They're all playing the game. The Thetan and its relationship to Scientology is a fundamental feature of the universe. The first principle in Scientology is survive. A Thetan survives by adherence to Scientology doctrine and dedication to the church cult. No matter how much the church Scientology tries to propagandize that it is helping families, all that can ever mean is Scientology helps families understand they are not families, but individual Thetans. That's Scientology's foundational doctrine. So it's an Illuminati concept. It's inverting the pyramid. All these facets that devalue the family are well illustrated in this account of a young Sea Org member trying to get permission to go home for Christmas. I really wish they would have said the age. The internal staff members' concluding response summarizes Scientology's doctrine and attitude toward family quite succinctly. Thetans don't have families. Parents are no more than genetic entities. The Thetan's relationship to the family is unimportant and merely biological, as this Scientology executive tells Bushka. Aftermath: physical and emotional trauma. Finally, and most tragically, Scientology children suffer physical and emotional scars, some that may never heal. Separated from their parents, taught that family serves merely a biological function, indoctrinated, deprived of schooling, suppressed for acting like children, tricked into menial jobs, and impressed labor, corporally punished, forced into adult trials long before adulthood. In some, these youngsters are abused. Some children do not escape the madness. The fortunate fact the others, like Chris, do survive is a modern miracle. And I just want to mention really quick, of all the children that currently, in real time, 2025, currently have suicidal ideation in Scientology. And what do the LAPD officers do when they run away? They deliver them straight back to Scientology. I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.